Same way I have also given the solution of the sixth example, this one. Okay, so I here complete this topic, star data conversion, and let's start the new chapter, chapter number 4, electromagnet. Okay. So before starting this chapter, I'm talking about some regarding your first internal exam. So some of the students ask the question that what type of questions can be asked in the exam. Okay. So this question bank, all of you see this question bank? देखा है बताना?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, 1 minute. Now you can see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see this here. Question bank for this is the question bank only for first internal exam. Okay, so you can ask the short questions like definitions, potential difference, active passive element, loop and mesh, conductance, what is conductivity, electric energy, what is resistance, resistivity, what is called as node, what is junction, network and circuits, electric field strength, electric flux density, absolute permittivity, potential gradient, and dielectric strength. So these are the different definitions of this first 3 chapters. So that can be asked in 1 marks, each of the 1 marks.
Sir,
Same
are
way
you
can-
sharing something?
Yes.
Are you
Sorry?
sharing something because I'm not able to see anything?
No one can see this question bank. बताना कोई ने देखा थी नहीं question bank?
Sir, I can see now.
Sir, I'm able to see it.
देखा जगह नहीं होगा?
Sir, yes, sir, I'm able to see now.
Okay. So these definitions can be asked in 1 marks. Same like a descriptive questions like state and explain the Kirchhoff's voltage and current law. Okay. So you can explain with the figures. So for detail, you can read from the V.K. Mehta book. Okay. Because in the presentation, I have not give the detailed theory of it. Okay. So for that, you have to read the V.K. Mehta or any other reference book for this typically. Same way, second chapter, second question, explain the factors affecting the resistance value, explain the temperature coefficient at different temperatures, explain Ohm's law with limitations. So all the questions we have already covered in the lectures of first 3 chapters. Then this derivation of flux density, or you can say that the relationship between the flux density and electric field intensity E. So you can derive this equation. So you can ask in 5 marks. Explain the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor for the 3 different cases we have learned in the third chapter: uniform dielectric medium, partial air medium, and composite electric diamedium. So that can be asked in 10 marks. Same way, this last lecture we have done this: explain charging of the capacitor and discharging of the capacitor. So here in your syllabus, this charging and discharging is present, but the theory is not in your syllabus. Only practical is in syllabus. Okay, but I covered this topic also. So this topic may not be asked in the exam. Clear? But for the practical point of view, you must know what is the charging and what is the discharging of the capacitor. Clear? Because the next practical we have done regarding this charging and discharging of the capacitor. So I think this 10 and 11 question is not asked to in the exam. It is not in your theory syllabus, but in your practical syllabus it is available. Okay, so but you can understand about this charging and discharging. Then examples related to the resistance, resistivity, which we have covered in the first chapter. Almost all the examples which given in this question bank we have calculated during the lectures. So there is no problem to solve these questions. With the same value, same example we have calculated. Okay. So this is your question bank for the first internal exam. Okay. So here in the example, it doesn't mean that only this question will become. Okay. But this type of question will become in your exam. જે question bank માં આપેલા છે એનો મતલબ એવું નથી કે આ જ question પૂછાશે, બરાબર છે, એના જેવા આવી શકે છે. So prepare for other example also. Clear? And here in the theory questions, all we have covered. જે આપણે ચલાવ્યા છે exam lecture માં. Okay. So this question bank I will share you after the completion of this lecture. So you prepare this question bank, and if you have any doubt, then you can ask me in the next lecture. I think tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will conduct your doubt solving session. So in that lecture, you can ask me the doubts if you have any in this question bank. Okay. So is there any doubt in this question bank? Anything? Anyone? So I can move for the next chapter, number 4, electromagnetism. Yes, is there any doubt? Anyone?
Can you please provide the answers?
No, I have not provided the answer because I have
Should we
already
answer?
discussed in the lecture. I have already discussed in the lecture, so I have not provided the answer of one by one all the questions. That you find out all the answer of these questions. Okay.
Sir,
And that
only
is
for the
available.
example question.
Yes.
In these circuit type questions, can you provide answers?
No, we already calculated this example. That I am
Yes.
saying that આપણે જે example કરાવ્યા છે એ જ example છે, બીજા કોઈ છે નહીં અમારી, બરાબર છે? But it doesn't mean that I asked only these questions. એવું જરૂર નથી કે આ જ question પૂછાશે, બરાબર છે? એના જેવા બીજા પૂછાઈ શકે, અથવા I can twist in this one of the example. કંઈક twist આવી શકે, maybe same પણ આવી શકે, બરાબર છે? But I am not sure that same question can be asked. Clear? So you prepare for that. Yes.
Sir, in question number 7,
Yes.
so what exactly do we have to write? So do we have to derive them or what? Sir?
No. See, explain the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor. So explain that. What is the equation for uniform dielectric medium? What is the value of capacitance? Then what is the value of capacitance or equation when there are two different types of medium? One is air and another is another dielectric medium. Then case 3 is a composite dielectric medium. So all these 3 cases we already discussed. If you see the PPT
So
of
I
this
asked because
chapter,
it was of 10 marks, that's why.
yes, so you detail explanation given and then draw the figure as well as. And the same time you derive the equations. Okay.
So we have to derive.
Yes, you have to derive this
Okay.
equation.
Okay.
That's why they give the 10 marks. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, all of you. Is there any doubt?
Sir,
Now
there
I
won't
give-
be any objective question.
Yes,
Objective type?
yes. Objective type questions may be asked. Yes. Short objective question may
Sir,
be
is
asked.
there any paper pattern?
Yes, see the paper pattern is MCQ, short question and descriptive. 3 type of questions can be asked. Yes. MCQ can be anything, okay. I cannot say that type of MCQ because I have not decided yet what type of MCQ I can put. Okay. But that is all we cover in this first 3 chapter. એમાંથી જ આવશે, બરાબર છે? So don't worry about this. Yes, any doubt now? Anyone? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's start the chapter number 4, electromagnetism. Okay. So first of all, what is the electromagnetism? Can anyone give me the answer? What is called as electromagnetism or electromagnetic? I think all of you have learned these terms. Okay.
The property of magnetizing a material by the help of electric current is known as electromagnetic.
So how they get the property? Electromagnetism. Yes, you are right. Suppose I have one material and I want that material electromagnetized. So how it is possible? So what is the procedure to do the magnetization of that material, electromagnetization? Is there any material?
So winding the wire around the material.
Winding the wire around the material. Okay, then
Passing current through it.
passing through the current, what? Coil or a material?
The coil.
Okay, so suppose I think all of you know the solenoid. Okay, so in solenoid, what we do? We wind the winding around any materials, most of the time ferromagnetic material. So when you pass the current through the coil, that creates the electromagnetism. That material creates the electromagnetism. Okay. So What is the difference between a permanent magnet and electromagnet?
Electromagnetic material will lose its magnetic property after we stop passing the current through it.
Yes, very good, very good, very good. In permanent magnet, your magnetism is remain as it is. Okay, you not need to provide the external energy. But in the electromagnet, it remains magnetism till you provide the external electrical energy. જ્યાં સુધી energy provide કરશો, up to this time they remains in magnetism. Once you stop the providing the energy or stop to provide the supply, then its magnetism is over. Okay, so this is a difference between electromagnet and permanent magnet. So what is actually the definition of magnetization? So magnetization is what? That is nothing but a magnetic moment per unit volume. Magnetic moment per unit volume. So what is a magnetic moment? So that is nothing but a attraction or repulsion between two objects, that is called as a magnetic moment. In which direction we get the magnetic moment? Attraction or repulsion of force, that is called as a magnetic moment. So force of attraction or repulsion, that is caused by what? Movement of the charged particles. Okay, so magnetization that happens because of moving charged particles. We in the previous chapter we learned the electric field. Okay, so electric field that is created by what? Stationary charge, plus Q or minus Q, whatever charge. Okay, but here this magnetization or magnetic field, that is created by the movement of charged particles. Stationary charge particle cannot produce the magnetization. Only moving charge particle that produce the magnetization. Okay, so magnetization means what? That is create the force of attraction or repulsion. That depend upon the polarity of the object. Okay, same polarity particles, same polarity objects, then they repel, different polarity attract with each other. Okay, so that is a definition of magnetization. Okay, magnetic moment per unit volume. Now you can see here the graphically also. You can see here in the figure, one electron that is passing, one electron is revolving around one axis. So you can see that at a axis of this rotation, that creates a magnetic moment. It means that creates a force. So you can see that this force is from downward to upward if it is a rotating anti-clockwise direction. Clear? So same way, suppose it is rotate in clockwise direction, then this moment, magnetic moment or force, that creates in upward to downward direction. Clear? So by any motion of electron or charged particle, that creates the magnetic moment. So here that's why it is written that being a moving charge, electron produces a small magnetic field having a magnetic moment along the axis of rotation, of the electrons. So here you can see that these electrons are spin and that produces a magnetic moment along the spin axis. Yeah. And this magnetism in a material that arises due to the alignment of this magnetic moment. So that type of magnetic moments, number of magnetic moments lines are created if number of electrons are revolving around a particular axis. So in this spin axis, that creates the number of magnetic lines. So that creates a magnetism in a material. Clear? So as I told you that suppose one solenoid is supply the power, coil is wound surround any iron material. So electrons is move in this direction because coil is wound, rotate like this way. So if electron is flow through this conductor, so the magnetic moment line that is created in the iron particles in a solenoid. Clear? So that creates the electromagnetism. So as we know that in a permanent magnet, there are N and S pole. Okay, so what is called an N and S pole? So the field lines which are away from any pole, that pole is called as the N pole. And in the pole where the field lines are towards the pole, that called as the S pole. So based on that, we can give the name North Pole and South Pole. Okay, so from the North Pole, you can see in this figure the field line are away from it, and from the S pole, that is toward this end. Okay, so that is the S pole. So this is a definition what is N and S pole. Yes, this is a magnetic field. Next definition is magnetic field. So what is called as a magnetic field? Yes, anyone can give the answer. What is a magnetic field?
Where a magnetic
The area around the magnet till where the force will be experienced. Force
Yes,
of
yes.
magnet is experienced.
So suppose you have a permanent magnet. So you can see in this figure, this is a permanent magnet with N and S pole. So in surrounding this permanent magnet, in the area which you experience a force, that area is called as a magnetic field. Yes. You can see that near to this magnet, more number of flux, but as the distance is increasing from this magnet, this magnetic field or flux lines are decreasing. Okay. So surrounding this magnet in this area, if you experience a magnetic force, so that area is called as a magnetic field. Yeah. If you have a large magnet, then this magnetic field area is large, because in large magnet you experience a force for large distance. Yeah. So here you can see that field lines that indicates both the direction and magnitude of a magnetic field. So you can see here from N pole to S pole, field lines are passing and then make the closed path. So this field line indicates what the direction and the magnitude of the magnetic field. Yeah. So how you decide the magnitude of the magnetic field, high or low? So if the number of flux line is more, it means that magnetic field is more. Yeah. And this arrow shows the direction of that magnetic field. Yeah. So this is a field line passing from N to S pole. If number of field lines are passing from N to S pole, then you can say that your large magnitude of the magnetic field. Yes. And you know that in which direction it is passing, always from N pole to S pole. Yes. So this is one illustration of magnetic field or magnetic field lines. Yes. The next definition is electromagnet. So how electromagnet is created, that we already discussed. So electromagnetism is what? That is a phenomenon which deals with what? Interaction between electric field and magnetic field. Yeah. So here we pass the current through the coil and it creates a magnetic field. So that's why it is called as the electromagnet. There is the two words, electro plus magnet. So here magnet is created in the material because of we passing the current through this coil. Clear? So this is a very important sentence. Stationary charges in the system lead to electric field and moving charges in the system lead to a magnetic field. So I already discussed that the stationary charge, suppose your charge is not moving and placed at any one point, so it will not create any magnetic field. It creates what? Electric field. Yeah. There is a difference between electric field and magnetic field. Okay. Electric field you get in the electric circuit, magnetic field you get in the magnetic circuit. Both the circuits are different, magnetic and electric circuits. So stationary charge in the system that creates the magnetic field, and moving charge with respect to time that creates what? Magnetic field. Direction of electric field and magnetic field always perpendicular to each other, and the wave of these two fields that travels at the speed of light. Okay. Electromagnet is a core of iron or a steel around which coil is wound. So when you pass the current through this coil, your core is magnetized temporarily till you provide the supply to this coil. Once you remove the supply, your magnetization is wiped out. Okay. So that is called as the electromagnet. Okay. You can see here in this figure also there is one solenoid around which you can wound the coil. So that creates the flux around this coil and create the magnetization in the iron material or steel material. Clear up to this point? Anyone have doubt? Anything up to this point? Definition of electric field, electromagnets, What is the difference between electromagnet and permanent magnets? Yes. Is there any doubt up to this point? Anyone? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So move for the next point is magnetic flux. So what is called as a magnetic flux? So as we see here in the previous figure, the number of lines are passing from N to S pole. Okay. So this total number of magnetic lines of force in a magnetic field, that is called as the magnetic flux. If more number of lines are passing from N to S pole, then we can say that magnetic flux is more. Clear? So magnetic flux is nothing but a summation of total number of magnetic lines of force in the magnetic field around the magnet in which you experience the force of attraction, maybe a repulsion. So it is denoted by phi, and unit of the magnetic flux is Weber. I think all of you know this. So what is the main characteristic of these magnetic flux lines? So basically there are 5 different characteristics. First characteristic, they have no physical existence. It means that you cannot see the magnetic flux lines passing from N to S pole. You can just feel the force of attraction and repulsion. Clear? So you cannot see the flux lines. That is the first characteristic. There is no physical existence of magnetic flux line. Second is that form the closed path. You can see here when it is passing from N to S, it creates the closed path. From N to S also it is flowing. Okay, so that makes the closed path. That is the main thing, or it is the main difference between the magnetic flux and electric flux. Electric flux not create the closed path, but magnetic flux create the closed path. Clear? Third characteristic, that never intersect with each other. 2 flux line never intersect with each other. That is the third characteristic. Fourth one is the line of magnetic flux closer to each other and having the same direction, then they repel with each other because they have same direction, so that create the force of repulsion. If the lines of magnetic flux closer to each other and having the opposite direction, then they attract each other. Opposite direction of magnetic flux line, that creates the force of attraction. So this is the 5 different characteristics of the magnetic flux. So you can here see that flux lines passing from one area. So if you want to find out the flux density, magnetic flux density, so the definition of the magnetic flux density is that the amount of or density of flux is the amount of flux passing through unit area, that is called as a flux density, and its symbol is B. It's same like a electric flux density that we have seen in the last chapter, D. Okay, D is a flux divided by area. Yeah, same way here it is flux divided by area, but in the previous chapter that is electric flux, here it is a magnetic flux. Okay, that is the difference between these 2 terms. So magnetic flux density B is nothing but flux per area, flux per unit area. So if more number of flux lines are passing from the unit area, then its flux density is more. Yeah. So that parameter gives the idea about what is the density of the flux line in unit area. So actual definition of this magnetic flux density is that flux per unit area at right angle to the flux, because these flux lines are perpendicular to the plane from where it is passing. Clear? So the actual definition of magnetic flux density is that flux per unit area at right angle to the flux. Area is right angle to the flux. So amount of flux which is passing through any area at right angle to the flux, that is called as a magnetic flux density. It means the area from where your flux lines are passing and the direction of the flux line, between that the angle is 90 degree. Clear? So in that 90 degree, if more number of flux lines are passing, then you can say that your flux density is more. and its unit is Weber per meter square, because as you know the equation is B is equal to flux divided by area. So flux unit is Weber, area unit is meter square. So it is Weber per meter square. And also its unit is Tesla. You can also say that unit of magnetic flux density is Tesla. So you can write Weber per meter square as well as Tesla. And same like a other field, that is a vector quantity, because magnetic flux density is also gives the direction of the magnetic flux density. So you can see here in the figure, the direction of this magnetic flux is from lower to upper side. Okay, so we can say that the magnetic flux density is in the direction from lower to upper direction. Clear? So this is a vector quantity, it is not a scalar quantity. So it gives a value as well as direction of the magnetic flux density. So as you can see in the figure, there is a stronger field at the poles. Even at the N pole or S pole, you can see that number of flux lines are entering or leaving the poles. So at the pole, you can see the magnetic field intensity, or sorry, magnetic field strength or magnetic flux density is very high, because at that point, number of flux lines are passing. So as you told, that definition is flux by area. Flux unit is Weber, area is meter square. So Weber per meter square, that is the unit of magnetic flux density. Now, next definition is magnetomotive force. So as you know that in the electric circuit, we have electromotive force, EMF, or you can say the potential difference, or you can say the voltage. So in electric circuit, when you provide the EMF or electromotive force, then and then current is passing through the circuit. Yeah. Same way here in the magnetic circuit also, if you want to set up the magnetic flux, so for that you require the external force, and that force is called as the magnetomotive force. Yeah. So if you make the analogy between electric circuit and magnetic circuit, so in electric circuit there is a EMF, electromotive force. Same way in the magnetic circuit we have magnetomotive force. In electric circuit we have current which is flowing through the circuit, where in the magnetic circuit we have magnetic flux which is set up in the magnetic circuit. So see, this is a difference between electric circuit and magnetic circuit is what? When you provide the EMF in the electric circuit, so current is flowing into the closed path in the electric circuit. But in the magnetic circuit, when you provide the magnetomotive force, that set up the magnetic flux. Magnetic flux will not flow into the circuit. It is set up in the magnetic circuit. So that is the main difference. Clear? So if you make the analogy, electric and magnetic circuit we have current, magnetic circuit we have magnetic flux. Electric circuit we have electromotive force, magnetic circuit we have magnetomotive force. Clear this one? So this magnetomotive force is called as a one type of magnetic pressure which is required to set up the magnetic flux in the magnetic circuit. Clear? And its unit is mmf. SI unit is mmf, or you can call it as a ampere turn. Ampere turn means number of amount of current flowing through the coil into number of turns of the coil. So if you pass the current of 5 ampere in solenoid which has number of turns of 5, so how much mmf? 5 into 5, 25 mmf. You can say that magnetomotive force for that supplies 25, or you can say that 25 ampere turns. Okay? So by this way you can finding out the magnetomotive force in your magnetic circuit. So I think clear this term magnetomotive force. Clear all of you up to this point? Now next is the definition of magnetic field intensity. Magnetic field intensity. So it's same like electric field intensity that we have measured in the electric circuit E. Same way here magnetic circuit you can measure the magnetic field intensity. So what is the intensity of field line? That you can find out from this parameter. So definition is that it is defined as the magnetomotive force, means MMF, per unit length of magnetic flux path, and it's denoted by H. Unit is ampere turns per meter, because as you know the definition is magnetomotive force per unit length. So in the numerator MMF, unit is ampere turns, and denominator that is the length, so unit is meter. So unit is ampere turn per meter, or you can say that MMF per meter or MMF per length. So this is the equation of H is equal to Ni by L. That is called as the magnetic field intensity. Now next term is the permeability. So as you know that in the electric circuit we have a permittivity. Okay, permittivity epsilon. Epsilon is equal to epsilon 0 epsilon r. That is the permittivity in the electric circuit. Same way you can make the analogy with here in the magnetic circuit, that is called permeability. Okay, so what is the permeability? So it is nothing but the ability of the magnetic material to create the magnetic flux through it. If any material you have, if more number of flux lines are passing easily through that material, then you can say that that material has a higher value of permeability, because it can easily pass the magnetic flux line through it. Same way as we have seen in the electric circuit, permittivity. So permittivity means what? The ability of the material to easily pass the current through it. Here, same way here in the magnetic circuit, the ability of the magnetic material to set up or pass the magnetic flux through it. So that is the definition of permeability. So analogy between electric magnetic circuit, you can also add this point. Electric circuit we have permittivity, magnetic circuit we have permeability. So all this point you can write in the comparison between magnetic and electric circuits. Yeah. So that's why I'm explain one by one to all these things. So when you applied the magnetomotive force in a magnetic circuit to any ferromagnetic material, we will discuss what is the ferromagnetic material, classification of magnetic material in the next slide. So when you apply the MMF, magnetomotive force, to any ferromagnetic material, that produces a flux is very large as compared to the flux produced by the air vacuum or any non-magnetic material, because ferromagnetic material has a higher value of permeability. So when you provide the magnetomotive force to this ferromagnetic material, they can pass number of magnetic flux lines through it. So they have higher value of permeability. So permeability, that gives a numerical value of any magnetic material, that how much amount of or how many flux lines they can able to pass through it when you provide the MMF. So equation of permeability is nu is equal to nu 0 into nu r. Same as in electric circuit, permittivity epsilon is equal to epsilon 0 into epsilon r. In a magnetic circuit, we have permeability, that symbol is nu, is equal to nu 0 into nu r. And nu 0 is absolute permeability, and that is a constant 4 into 10 raised to minus 7 h by m. Clear? Same like epsilon 0, that is constant in the electric circuit. We know that the constant value 8.850 into 10 raised to minus 12. Same way in the magnetic circuit, this absolute permittivity, that is constant. Clear? So that is the absolute permittivity of air and vacuum. You get this value 4 into 10 raised to minus 7, because the relative permittivity you get 1 in air or vacuum. That is different for different material. Clear? But for air and vacuum, nu r is 1. Same like epsilon r is 1 in the electric circuit. Here nu r is 1 in vacuum and air. But for another different materials, magnetic material, it is different. So nu r is relative permittivity of the material. So that gives the value of permeability. So I think you know, understand these two terms, electric field intensity and permeability. Up to this, any doubt in these two definitions? Is there any doubt? Anyone? Yes, anyone? Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So how to calculate the relative permeability, NER, of any material? So for that, the definition is that relative permeability of any medium or material is defined as the ratio of flux density produced in the material to the flux density produced in the vacuum or air by the same magnetic field intensity. By the same magnetic field intensity. So definition, you can write in the form of equation. Relative permittivity NER is equal to flux density in the medium in which you find out the relative permeability divided by flux density in a vacuum. Then the condition is what? For the same magnetic field intensity. Field intensities remain same in both the cases. Where you find out the magnetic flux density in your material or in a medium, or when you find out the flux density in a vacuum or air, both the case of magnetic field densities remain same. So that ratio is called as the relative permeability of the material. And this relative permeability is 1 for the vacuum and air, because if medium is air or vacuum, so you can see in the definition numerator is what? Flux density in the medium. So if your medium is vacuum or air, so numerator and denominator remain same. So you get the relative permeability 1. But if it is a different material, then you get the different relative permeability. It may be more than 1 or less than 1, depend upon the type of material you have to use. Okay. So this is the definition of relative permeability. Now next term is next point is magnetism, classification of magnetic material. So how it is classified? Depending upon the existence and alignment of the magnetic moment. So how much amount of magnetic moments in the material is present? Based on that, you can classify the magnetization of any material. So magnetism, you can classify in 3 terms. One is ferromagnetism, that you get in ferromagnetic material, paramagnetism, and third one is diamagnetism. So let's understand what is the difference between these 3 terms: ferromagnetism, paramagnetism, and diamagnetism. So ferromagnetism you get in the ferromagnetic material. So what type of ferromagnetic material, or what is the characteristic of that material? So in this type of material, the relative permeability is greater than unity. It means more than 1, and dependent on the field strength. It depends upon the field strength, and they are easily magnetized. So when you provide the MMF to any ferromagnetic material, so they can pass number of magnetic flux lines through it. That's why we can say that its permeability is more. Yeah. So what type of material have this characteristic? So example that iron, cobalt, and nickel. So this material we call as a ferromagnetic material, because when you provide the MMF to any one of this material, you get the more number of flux line passing through it very easily with less magnetomotive force. So that is called as a ferromagnetic material. It is same like a electric circuit. You know that there are 3 different materials you classify. One is resistance, one is semiconductor, and one is conductor. Clear? So as you know that in the conductor you can pass the current very easily in the electric circuit. Same way in the magnetic circuit, in the ferromagnetic material you can pass the magnetic flux line very easily. Clear? So that is the analogy between electric and magnetic circuit. Okay. Same way you can see in the insulator in the electric circuit, when you provide the voltage, but current cannot be easily passed through the insulator because of the property of the material. Same way here, we have a diamagnetism material that you cannot pass the flux very easily. They oppose the flux line. Clear? So by this way, analogy between electric and magnetic circuit, you can understand this concept. Ferromagnetic material that provide the low resistance to the magnetic flux lines. That is type of material is iron, cobalt, and nickel. Paramagnetic material, they also can pass the magnetic flux line, but its relative permeability is slightly less than the permeability of the ferromagnetic material. Yes, it is greater than unity, but it is slightly less than the permeability of the ferromagnetic material. It means they pass the flux line, but not much like the ferromagnetic material. So when you provide the MMF to the paramagnetic material, that also pass the flux line through it, but lesser than the ferromagnetic material. The example of this type of material is aluminum and platinum. Yeah. So if you want to make the practical of this, so if you have any permanent magnet, and if you take this permanent magnet near to the iron, cobalt or nickel, any one material, then you can see that this iron, cobalt, nickel very easily attract with the permanent magnet with the large force. Clear? But when you take the permanent magnet near to the aluminum and platinum, then this aluminum and platinum that will not attract with this permanent magnet with that much of force like iron, cobalt and nickel attract with the permanent magnet. Clear? So because of this, characteristic of the paramagnetic material is that they cannot set up the magnetic flux very easily, but yes, it is pass the flux through this material, but with the less number of flux lines through it as compared to the ferromagnetic material. So that is the difference between ferromagnetic material and paramagnetic material. So if you make the analogy of paramagnetic material with the electric circuit of any material, so you can make with the semiconductor. So you know that semiconductor is not provide the very much of high resistance as well as not provide the very much of high conductance. Clear? So that is between insulator and between the conductors. Same like paramagnetic material, that is between ferromagnetic material and diamagnetic material. Yeah. Then third is called as diamagnetic material. So as I already told you that relative permittivity is slightly less than unity. It means that it cannot pass the magnetic flux line through this material very easily. This type of material is silver, copper and hydrogen, and almost all type of liquid you can get this property, diamagnetic material. So you can see here in the graphical way also. So suppose you have any one diamagnetic material, silver, copper or hydrogen. Suppose this yellow box, that is a diamagnetic material. So when you provide the MMF, so you can see that flux lines are not easily passing through this material, that repel from this material. Clear? So they are get away from this material. Only small number of lines, few number of lines are passing through it, because this diamagnetic material has a property that repel the magnetic flux lines, but it is very weakly. Yeah. That force is not very large. But in short, diamagnetic material cannot pass the flux lines through it very easily as compared to the ferromagnetic and paramagnetic material. So I think all of you understand what is the difference between ferromagnetic, paramagnetic and diamagnetic material. So this is the classification of magnetic material. All of you clear this up to this point? Is there any doubt? Anyone have any doubt? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So here I stop this lecture and we will meet at the 1 p.m. Okay. Our second lecture start at the 1 o'clock. So if you have any doubt in this lecture, you can ask now. You have 1 or 2 minutes. Yes, anyone have any doubts? Yes, anyone?
No, sir.
So here I stop this lecture and we will meet at 1 p.m. Thank you to all.
Thank you.